What is up, Sessions with Mary Jane fans? It's been a long time. I haven't released these episodes in a while. I've been kind of sitting on them. Been going on some changes in my life, in the process of a move, in a process of changing jobs and careers at the time, and yeah, I kind of let this lapse a little bit. So I appreciate you guys coming back to listen and watch this podcast that I released, or I recorded over a month ago with a very funny comedian, Andreas Loizou. Just an update on some upcoming shows. April 11th, that is going to be the Junk Mail Improv show that I originally said was going to be in February. That's actually going to be April 11th at Bolero Snort. So you should check that out. I'll be performing in that, and they have great beer there, so check it out. Also, the day before, I am performing stand-up comedy at an art gallery. So definitely check that out. All of these will be posted in the link below, or on my website, so you can check those out. And then a little bit later in May, I'm actually going to be doing a show, where comedians channel, other comedians from the past, and I will be doing a, Mitch Hedberg, cover, I guess you could say, Mitch Hedberg cover, or Mitch Hedberg impersonation, or Mitch Hedberg inspiration. So those are kind of my big shows coming up in the coming months. But I just wanted to give you guys some updates. We should be getting back on a regular weekly schedule soon, so look out for those episodes. If you haven't already, check out some of the older episodes. And our next episode is actually with Villan Trub of the movie Mamushka. I hope I pronounced that right. It is a horror film about kind of a satanic doll of some sort. And that's going to be ready for Blu-ray release by the time we release this. And it also should be heading to Tubi soon. So definitely watch this episode today. We're going to have a great episode next week, and I should have some great new guests coming on for you for the 2026 slate of episodes. I appreciate you guys being patient with me as I work through some stuff in my own life, but don't worry, I'm doing great. Things are going well, so I look forward to chatting with you guys very soon. Stay blazy, folks. All right, we are back with another episode of Sessions with Mary Jane. I'm your host, Jordan Freed, and I am a little bit fried. I don't know. I smoked like 3 hours ago now, so I'm not as fried as I used to be, you know, but I guess that is like being a human, you know. You're never like the same yourself like 3 hours after you're yourself, you know. You're a different self every single minute you live on this planet. So we are back, and just a reminder, got an improv show at Bolero Snort on February 21st with Junk Mail Improv and Seance. Come check that out. It's quickly approaching, and we would love to sell it out in advance, because then we'll schedule another show, because they're pretty flexible at Bolero Snort and like having us there, and they have amazing beer. And it's just a good time. This was recorded like 3 weeks ago, so I hopefully have stand-up shows at this point. I didn't have anything on the slate when this came out, but check out all those shows at lnhstudios.com/shows. And yeah, let's just get into this. We have on the show somebody I've known for a long time in comedy. I've probably known him maybe since he started doing comedy. Maybe he had been doing comedy a little bit before I met him, but he is a hilarious comedian, one of the best joke writers in all of New Jersey. He also has a fucking amazing eye, and he likes to fidget around with cameras and make stuff happen. Welcome to the show, Andreas Loizou.
Thanks, Jordan, for having me. Really excited.
Yeah, I don't even know where we met. Do you know where we met?
Was it the early Rhino?
Probably early Rhino.
Yeah.
Probably first Rhino.
At Lafayette Ave, yeah.
Yeah, down the street across from the Lafayette Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've moved down the street a little bit. Shout out Rhino Comedy.
Shout out.
I saw Maria recently for like the first time in like 6 years, 7 years. So that was kind of funny. Awesome. But yeah, how long have you been doing comedy for? You've been in the game like a minute. Now you're like a veteran of the comedy world.
Yeah,
you're an old head in comedy. How funny is that? You were like how old when you started?
I was 19 when I started.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's it was like a year in college, and I always said I wanted to do it, and I took a class here at Gotham actually.
Different Gotham, but
yeah.
They're unrelated Gotham. This is the Gotham production studio. I'm assuming you took it at Gotham Comedy Club.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think they're associated, but maybe.
Right.
I guess they're all in the fictional Batman universe. Right. How was that class? Because a lot of people are like, you can't teach stand-up, but you're a great stand-up, so Thanks. It must have been a good class.
No, yeah. Jim Mandrinos taught it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I really liked he was pushing me to get on stage. That's what I really needed and got out of it mostly. So yeah.
That's good stuff.
Good motivator.
It's funny that you went to New York City to work with Jim Mandrinos, who is a Jersey guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You could have just stayed on the other side of the river and saved yourself a toll.
Yes.
So you got up like for the class? Did they have like a class show at the end?
Yeah, they did. And he was pushing us to go to mics during the weeks we were going to come to the class. Yeah.
So. Nice. Were you hitting stuff in the city at that point?
I was.
Because you were.
My first mic was at the Pit. And
nice.
Bombed so bad.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
It was a little sadomasochistic because it was the worst experience, but I was like, I need more.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're that young. Like I started when I was like 17 and like did it at bars and had like painfully terrible bombs.
Yeah.
Like I feel like because we do comedy with so many people who are older,
right?
Like, I feel like they don't have the same perspective of, like, bombing as a kid when people are just like,
that's true.
Get this fucking kid off the stage. Like, why is he here right now? Right. I'm trying to drink beer, and this guy's not even old enough to be in this bar.
Yeah.
But that's cool. And then from there, you did the class show, and then you were like, oh, is there stuff in Jersey? Is that how you kind of got involved in Jersey?
Jim told me about some mics in Jersey, and then gradually I found the community there. So it was fun, yeah.
How did you know that you wanted to be a stand-up? Like, did you watch it a lot as a kid?
Yeah, in high school I was obsessed. Just Carlin, really, his specials. And I had to find everything on my own, and the internet's a great tool. I would savor his specials. I saw the ones he did for HBO, so every weekend I'd save one to watch, and then from there, just whatever comics he was referencing, and then I kind of go down my own rabbit hole, and so.
Word. Do you feel like he's your biggest influence, like with your writing style, or was there somebody else that you connected with more writing style wise?
Later, you listen to more different styles and voices. I mean, he was a great start, but then I kind of like right now I really like Stuart Lee, the English comedian. Yeah, I
don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he's really fresh to watch. Yeah, he's very different.
What's his vibe?
He kind of writes. It's almost like his act is. It's a little anti-comedy, I guess, like parody. So, and he kind of pokes fun at his audience. He kind of puts themselves in their perspective of why they aren't laughing, and that sort of thing. So,
yeah, I like that type of shit.
Yeah,
I feel like you kind of have to have those elements, especially now with like everybody posting like crowd clips, and it's all like people think that crowd work is everything in comedy. Which it really wasn't when we started. Like there were people who did crowd work, and it was like part of being a headliner or a host. It was like you do a little crowd work, but now it's just like there's people who come up like
eighth in a lineup of 10 comedians and they're doing crowd work, and I'm like, that's kind of an odd move. You waited 8 people and you're not going to do any material, and you're just going to ask people questions that might have been asked already.
Or if it was a way to deal with a heckler, and then it would cease, and then you'd go back to your act, and
Did you get heckled a lot when you were young?
No, not a lot. I mean, it was like a handful of times, but they don't. Someone might have had too much to drink. That's all they're trying to get attention.
I had a really drunk guy last month.
Really?
Yeah, no, he was fucked. What was his name? His name was like Mothy.
Mothy?
I think. Yeah, like it was short for Timothy.
Okay.
And yeah, he was just like heckling from like the beginning, like not necessarily negative heckling, just like being a little too participatory.
Right.
Like people wouldn't ask him questions, but then he would start talking, and then people would start asking him questions. So then I feel like it just gave him like the PBA card, like, you're not gonna get arrested here, bro. Like, keep going. Right. And then like I was up later in the show, and it was like, it was an all over the place show. There weren't that many people there, and like I had 2 friends who came out who like rarely see me, and they were like some of the only audience members there, and I felt so bad.
No.
I was just like, this guy just derailed my whole set. But
I never want anyone due to I always try to dissuade and if anyone I know wants to come, I never want anyone.
But you're so good.
No.
Really?
Yeah. Family too. So
interesting. What is your where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jersey, primarily Bayonne until I was 8, and then my parents wanted to move to a quiet town in Morris County. So, yeah.
What was that like, growing up in a quiet town in
made
Morris
me
County?
Remorse Bayonne. Yeah, I missed it. All
really?
I knew was louder. Yeah, it was like almost an urban city sort of style. I didn't really relate to a lot of the kids there. It was very shallow, super. It's reflective of the town. It's so I didn't really click with anyone. So yeah.
What were you like in high school?
I was unbearable.
Unbearable? In what way?
I don't know. I just I was finding out what I liked, and I couldn't relate to anyone. I was an old soul, so I was watching all this older stuff and older music, and the nerds wouldn't even take me. They're like, "You're too weird for us. We don't know what to." So I was bonding more with my teachers, really, because they knew what I was talking about, all my references. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that gave you a leg up in school because you could speak the teachers' languages? You're like, I'm 52. I'm 50 as well. Yeah, like
I was a bit of a teacher's pet too, in late high school. Yeah, those last 2 years. So, yeah,
interesting. So that's kind of what led you into this bizarre path that we live.
Maybe.
Being a little an outsider, and now we're the insiders of the outsiders. Were you watching a lot of films back then?
Yeah.
Or was that something later that you got into?
No, about the same time. And more closely, I was paying attention to directors and watching them in that way, and kind of building this catalog in my head. Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, Andreas is a very large cinephile. He's very understating his love of film right now. What were some of the early directors that kind of got you into film and made you want to like be around it?
I liked I really gravitated towards Mike Leigh. He's an English director. Yeah, his stuff it's I guess you'd describe it as neo-social realism films, and they're kind of grounded on families a lot, and he's exploring how they navigate those dramas and
why do you think he's not more popular in America?
I don't know.
Because it's like weird because there's no like language barrier.
No,
like
there isn't.
You don't have to read subtitles to. Maybe you have to read it because they have some Cockney shit going on over there. But
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, his cast. I mean, a lot of the actors he used, they became well known later. Mostly, English cast. I don't know.
They're very play-like.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very like dialogue-driven stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't write a script, so he's just improvising with his cast for months, and he kind of notes what he wants to shoot as a scene, and they do it, and it comes off really fresh, and yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Do you write scripts or?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Word. What? Because like you're big into cameras, right?
I'm not. No, and I'm not really a camera junkie. I don't know all the specs, and
but you enjoy.
I like shooting.
You enjoy shooting.
Yeah, taking pictures too.
How did you get into that?
I took a photography class in high school, and it's just framing is fun for me. What I'm leaving out of the cropping, and so.
You must be loving the mise en scène in this room right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in the background. for all the stoners out there. You're not a stoner, but you make jokes about about stoners. I feel like in your stand-up sometimes.
No.
You have a couple of jokes about pot, right?
I don't. No, I don't.
You have a couple.
Which one?
I feel like you had a joke
remember.
that you used to have a joke that was like, I don't smoke weed because I already look like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was an old one.
That was an old one.
I think that was it though, if anything.
Maybe.
Yeah. I remember you asked me to come on the show early on, and you're like, "Wait, do you smoke?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, you can't come on." So,
oh yeah, it was different rules back then. Since then, we've had politicians, we've had
cool.
musicians, like people all over the map, business owners. David Schoner, the film commissioner guy.
Nice.
He's like not the film commissioner. He's something in the film commission. He's not the film commissioner officially. Don't sue me, New Jersey Film Commission, on this. Well, how have you liked it? How have you liked being in the comedy world? You've done it this long now.
Yeah. It's okay. It's it's exciting when I was young. It's interesting to see how it's reshaping. I don't know. The internet's almost hand in hand with it. It's very driven in that way. And I'm not very good at that. So
it must be hard for you, right? Because you're a very good writer. So I feel like a lot of the joke is hearing it the first time,
I guess,
and like being surprised by it.
Yeah.
And like there's some bangers that you could definitely laugh at every time you hear them.
Sure.
But it's not like you're like telling crazy stories and doing voices necessarily, right?
No.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about how comedy's changed?
Yeah.
I wish that comedy was like this when I started.
Okay.
Because I actually had the energy and like creativity to actually do this stupid shit that's very performative and like narcissistic. I feel like I've aged a little bit out of like wanting to make YouTube videos and shit like that. Like I enjoy interviewing people, but even like the act of like promoting a podcast and like having to cut the clips and then having to write the description, having to make sure they're posted on everything, having to make sure they're on the right time, make sure you tag the people who's going to be invited to be a collaborator. It's just shit that makes you want to kill yourself. You're just like, am I really a human so that I do this shit?
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. I know.
So that's like the thing I don't like about it. Like I was making Vines back in the day, and like once I graduated from college, I was making like sketch videos where I would just like put my camera on a tripod and like do stupid shit and write captions, and it's like I was before the time that was relevant. Like if TikTok was a thing back then, or if Instagram videos were more of a thing back then, I feel like it would have been a little bit different. Like I feel like everybody from the time I started was encouraging me not to put anything on the internet.
Same
and
here.
Was saying like, don't put anything out. Like you want to save those jokes. Like don't burn that on the internet. Like people are so dumb. Also, now I get it looking back.
Yeah.
Because like people were also just like, you're bad. Don't put it up on the internet. You know, like you might think you're good right now, but like you're not good. Like don't put it up on the internet right now. Like don't embarrass yourself. Like people are gonna not want to watch this. And like that is good advice, but also like I still think I'm bad enough that people don't want to watch, you know? Like, it's not like I've gone viral from posting anything or anything's changed. So
Right.
I don't really know. You kind of have to post stuff or else you don't exist.
I know.
The new big thing is going to be like whether or not AI recognizes you. Like, if somebody's looking for comedians in New Jersey, like, does it bring up our names?
Right.
Like, if somebody's like, I'm looking for a comedy show tonight, like, is your comedy show coming up?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be the next, like, wave of who becomes famous is, like, people having bullshit articles written about them so that AI picks it up and is like, oh, they're a legitimate comedian. They play all over because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. Like, if you're just kind of leaving like breadcrumbs over the internet and then AI is able to find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough for me because there's like a crypto bro with my name. So I
no
can't.
way.
Yeah, his name is Jordan Freed, and he's like the founder of Hedera Hashgraph, which is just like a coin that's like 10 cents, I think, right now. I keep a watch on it too, because I'm just like, maybe there was a reason why that guy has my name. Like, maybe I should be investing with it. Maybe it's actually good. And of course, like the coin went from like 30 cents to now being 10 cents. And I'm like, okay, maybe this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Maybe not all Jordan Freeds are smart. And I'm like, one thing I do know about all Jordan Freeds, we are all broke. So that's one thing I know. Besides dentist Jordan Freed. Do you have any doppelgangers?
One wrote, I think he's an economist, and he's got a couple books out. I think there may be like a young soccer player.
So basically, people just think you're smart and athletic.
Which is fine with me. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I guess, yeah.
What's up with the suit?
It's my granddad's actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like a family heirloom.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a sick suit.
Thanks.
I like it.
Thank you.
You're just the most dressed up person who's ever come on our show. So I feel like I got to point it out and like give you a little trophy.
Thank you.
Like the improv trophy. It's there. Just use the physicality and then you have it. What have you been watching lately? What do you like from this year? Have you seen any of the films this year?
Yeah, I saw Marty Supreme. That was fun.
Yeah, I loved Marty Supreme.
Really fun ride.
That was some of the best acting I've seen in anything the best like fun acting.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like not fun acting. Like Hamlet is great acting, but it's not really fun.
I still need to see that.
Yeah. it's good.
Okay.
It's just like dark and human and like gut wrenching and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
For Marty Supreme, I feel like that was just like fun.
It was. No.
You're just here for fun. Like this guy is not a good guy. You're not here to be like, I don't know whether he's good. I don't know if he's bad.
Right.
Like you're just there to watch the journey and like be on that mission.
Definitely.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
I like the music. Clashing with the period piece it is, but it's like 30 years ahead. It reminded me of Vangelis a lot. His scores. He used a lot of synthesizers in the 80s, and
What did he?
Chariots of Fire. That's his most notable theme that he wrote. Yeah, and the Blade Runner. He did.
Oh, he did Blade Runner.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah. So that was cool. No, I like the costume design too. I'm looking at the clothes, and I like that era. It was really the suits. What else? Really mosaic cast. He's got an eye for. It's all over. He's got Fran from The Nanny and.
Oh yeah, my former president.
Really? Right.
Yeah, SAG-AFTRA president.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Fran Drescher.
Nice.
Drescher. Yeah, the casting is great. They had Jennifer Vendetti.
Yeah.
Which like she cast Euphoria.
Okay.
And she cast Uncut Gems.
Nice.
So they've been working with her for a while, I think.
She's
and
very
like
good.
R.I.P. to Angus Cloud. She, I think, like found him out of nowhere. Fez from Euphoria.
Oh.
And I feel
I
like,
didn't see Euphoria.
you didn't see Euphoria? You must be so confused by Hollywood. You're probably just like, why are these people in movies? That's how I feel about Stranger Things, because I never watched Stranger Things, and I'm just like, why do I care about Millie Bobby Brown? I'm very confused. I'm just supposed to know who this is, and I'm supposed to watch all of her movies, and like it's being force fed to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I fell off Stranger Things. I'm bad with shows. I can't do shows. I don't know why, but yeah.
You have a commitment issue.
Maybe that's it exactly. Yeah.
What do you usually do with your free time?
I try to draw or write or photography.
What type of drawing do you do?
Mostly portraits. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm storyboarding now. Actually, I'm helping some friends with a short film. And
can you talk about that at all? What the short film is?
I don't. I guess not. I don't want to offsay, but yeah, it's my friend's short. That's why he wrote it. So
nice.
Yeah.
What are you doing on the production?
A storyboard, and then on set.
So he hit you up to be like a storyboard artist.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a weird hustle. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's a storyboard artist.
Yeah.
How do you like you're just homies with him and you're like, I'm good at framing?
Yeah. So he knew I could draw, and so he asked me, and yeah.
That's sick, because I feel like everybody's just gonna make storyboards that are AI slop now.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you could get the hand drawn thing.
Yes. Well, I saw that story. Disney's thinking of going back to hand drawn animation.
Really?
Did you see that?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
what was it?
They're considering just going back to traditional approach. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing that? Animation?
Yeah, that's what I really wanted to do in high school, but then I don't know, that dream got spoiled somehow.
Really?
I wanted to be like Seth MacFarlane, because I used to do impressions and I could draw. So
what?
Yeah. So, but I don't do them anymore.
What happened? You used to do impressions?
You have this impression that, or no, you're told like doing impressions is hack. So that idea kind of really sat with me, and then I kind of stopped. And
that makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I never knew Impression Andreas. I feel like I've been robbed. What impressions were you doing?
I did the basic ones. I think that's how you crack that, is you have to do really ones that no one's really covered. So to stand out, like, yeah. So
yeah, impressions. Wow. Learn something new every day. Yeah. Andreas started out as an impressionist. I didn't know that at all. Were you always good at drawing? Was it just like
at a young age
class?
Yeah, it's just
yeah. Do you like to read?
I'm trying to be better with it. I'm trying to catch up. Yeah. I got this new book. It's a nonfiction book. It's called Blank Space, 21st Century History on 21st Century Culture. I'm excited to start that. Yeah, I like that author, W. David Marks. He's basically talking about the past 25 years, how we got here, and how our cultural values shifted more to commodities and making a quick buck. And he finds a parallel in our politics too, and explains that's why Trump got elected. So, because you don't hear anyone calling anyone a sellout anymore. You know, in the 90s, maybe the last, but now you see George Clooney shamelessly doing a commercial. It's like, really need to do that, you know?
There was like the Zoe Saldana, like T-Mobile commercial.
Yeah.
And I was just like, is that her? Like, they're not even going to name her. We're just supposed to know it's her. Right. I was just like, why would she be in this? And I'm like, she's very identifiable, but like also at the same time, I'm just like, weren't you in some big ass movies? Like, you just won some Oscars. Yeah, and it's like, I guess people just can never have enough money.
Yeah.
I guess you always just need more.
Yes.
It's a very all over the place industry.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. What do you feel about the landscape of comedy right now?
I don't know. It's, I mean, it's one, again, how it's so attached to the internet, and then we have to we have to wear so many hats now. We're editors and all these things, and have to have this presence online. And I mean, it's another reason why I really like Stuart Lee. He doesn't have an Instagram or Twitter, and he has a website, but he's been around. He's built an audience loyal enough, and gradually he's having more fans as well. But that's what I really admire as well about him too. He doesn't feel to try to hustle anyone digitally. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that
it's-
makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Where do you feel like there's like good stuff happening right now? Like what are some of the clubs that you like going to or venues that you like performing at?
The Rhino has me. They're great. I think they look for.
You're there like monthly usually?
It's almost yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
think they really look for people very different voices. They're trying to have something to say. So I think they do a good job curating those shows with different acts too that bounce off each other. Yeah. Where do you go?
Kind of all over. Like last
Nice.
year we had a residency at the Cry Out Cave for a little bit, and that's like a poet space. I don't know if you've been to it yet.
No.
Yeah, it's like a
Sounds cool.
mansion in Newark
Nice.
that in the basement of this like historic mansion that was like a bootlegger's mansion, and then
Yeah.
it turned into a beauty school, and now
Wow.
it's just like kind of a cultural like historical building that they just preserve. But yeah, they did some really fun sketch variety shows there at the Cry Out Cave.
Mhm.
Were you on one of those, or you went to a different show? What did I book you on last year? I booked you on something last year.
I don't remember. It was in the
You went
the
to
shop,
this. Oh,
the
yeah,
antique shop. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
That's fun.
We did some shows at a vintage store, Preservation Society vintage shop.
Yeah.
Shout out Kedley. She's awesome. But yeah, I've kind of just been bouncing around. I was kind of talking off the podcast with one of the earlier guests, but like you don't really produce a lot, but just as a
No.
producer, you're kind of like, what things are actually worth my time?
Right.
It's like not a question of whether I could get a show off the ground,
Yeah.
like, or whether I could find a venue that will let me put up a show, but like, will the show be good?
Right.
Is the show the type of place that I'd actually want to be at?
Right.
Like, those are now the questions I'm asking. Like, is the place charging me and how much?
Yeah.
Like, or do they see me as bringing something of value to me and they're just happy
Right.
to have me?
Yes.
And like they'll let me keep the door. Like I feel like
Yeah.
those are big questions that I'm always asking now as I
How
like,
is
look
this
into 2026.
Cry Out Cave. How do you like it so far?
It's good. Our residency for last year was just 3 months, and then
Okay.
after the 3 months, we kind of went into hiatus because it's just tough selling tickets.
Yeah.
It's like really annoying. Like selling tickets is probably the worst part of comedy, and like it's the death of a salesman kind of a thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like there used to be a time where people didn't know about commercialism and people weren't buying things, and it's just like you just have to go door to door and you tell them. But
Right.
like that's kind of the whole death of a salesman conceit, and
Yeah.
that's like how long ago was Death of a Salesman made? Like
Yeah.
that's probably 70 years ago now.
Yeah.
60 years ago. When was Death of a Salesman even written? And it's like so true. It's just like, oh yeah, like you're a salesman too. Oh, you're trying to sell something. Like it's like you're sap if you're trying to sell things, because it's just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, have fun going up against the 800 other companies that are selling the same exact thing that you have. So I just feel like that's kind of the thing that's tough with comedy, because like most people come to New York City to see comedy.
Yeah.
So you're already at a disadvantage if you're not in New York City.
Right.
Then a lot of people are just watching comedy on their phones. So then they don't want to buy tickets to see comedy because they're just like, I got my fill. Like I watch it for like 5 minutes when I'm on my lunch break, when I'm taking a dookie. You know, that's enough comedy for me. And then I feel like there's people who are just like the kind of Taylor Swift people of the world. Like I see one concert a year and it's Taylor Swift.
Right.
Like I feel like it's like I watch one special a year and it's Dave Chappelle. And there's like that kind of a person
Yeah.
who's like, they're not even going to seek out something new.
Yeah.
Like it has to be so mainstream that like, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is there's just too many people. So like in Jersey, there's so many people booking shows, like 75% of them are probably bad. So then it's like, okay, but how does like an average person find the difference between a bad show and a good show?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes the shows are bad because the marketing's bad and nobody shows up. And then by default, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to laugh, like, is it a comedy show kind of a thing?
Right.
But that's kind of like where I'm looking at for 2026. Like I'm definitely going to produce more shows, and like I want to do a tour if I get my money right.
Nice.
But yeah, the money is really out on the road.
Yes.
It's like I opened for Rich Carucci and he paid me more than like anybody else pays around here. Like,
that's
and
nice.
it's like you have to go on the road to get these payments because like you could do shows for like 30 or 40 people in your backyard, and like that's cool and all, and like you might get $20, but like you got to perform for like 100 people in like a place that they don't normally see comedy,
Right.
so they're willing to pay for it because they're like, this is an import.
Yeah.
Like, this is getting imported into our small town. Like, I feel like
right.
that's huge, is like bringing something to a small town, and kind of like probably what drew you to stand up too a little bit, right? Because you kind of grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
And you were just like, oh, it's interesting.
It
like, how
was
do I get into that? Like,
totally
what's the
diff-
mystery?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's your perspective on the entertainment industry now that you've like been in it for so long? Like, do you feel like it's less mystified? Do you still feel like it's far away?
I don't feel I've been in it.
But you have been, yeah.
I guess.
You're literally in the independent New Jersey film scene. Like, you're popping up at networking mixers. You're working on people's short films. Like, short films are real films.
Yeah.
Indie is still industry.
That's true. The smaller communities are nicer. They're more communal, I say, and yeah. How do you feel about it?
I just think you need a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's just like that. A lot of things just come back to needing a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, it's like keep getting better and like be rich.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like so many things are that, because like applying for comedy festivals, it's like even to apply for a comedy festival, you have to pay somebody to do a video for you, most likely.
Right.
And then you also have to have a good show. Yeah. So it's like you might be, to find a show that you have enough of a crowd that it sounds good on camera.
Right.
And then you also, at the same show, have a videographer there that's going to tape your show in good enough quality that people won't laugh you out of the room.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay a bunch of fees to get into these, to apply for these festivals.
Sure, yeah.
Then there's no guarantee they put you in the festival, which there's so many comedians in the world, you're kind of fucked, because it's like, well, yeah, if 1,000 people apply for a comedy festival, there's no chance you're getting in, basically, because they're probably taking 30 or fewer people.
Yeah. So
they just made tons of money off of 1,000 people applying to this fucking, like, comedy festival out in Montana or fucking Albuquerque, and you're like,
that's right.
Oh, wow, I never had a chance, and I just wasted all my money. So I feel like that's kind of the thing. It's like, if you have money and you don't have to worry about blowing your money, you could just say yes to everything and just basically put yourself in the rooms that you want to put yourself in.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think that's kind of the unfortunate fact that I've learned, is like, people are just going to keep asking you for money. There's going to be more that you have to do. Like, I don't know. To be like a working professional comedian, you kind of have to do like the college circuit. So you have to go to like those conferences like NACA and shit like that. Yeah. So then you have to buy the table, you have to buy the performance slot, and then that's not even a guarantee you get something. Right. So you got to be good.
Yeah.
And then you got to spend a lot of money once you're good.
That's right.
I feel like that's kind of where it's at right now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like the art scene in New Jersey? Do you like it? Do you like New Jersey? Are you a fan of New Jersey?
I'm a fan of New Jersey. Yeah.
You're a proud Jerseyan?
Yes. Yeah. Very proud. Well, I'm happy because I could have been living anywhere. It just happened to be New Jersey, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we have a lot of talented people that came from Jersey. Lauren Hill, Count Basie, Allen Ginsberg, Philip Roth. I want to go see his house. It's in Newark, his childhood home. Yeah. And there's a little plaque outside of it that says this is the childhood home of Philip Roth.
Really?
And I think there's people that live in it, but they still have that. I might be wrong on that, but yeah.
I'm more like a fan of the idea of Philip Roth.
Okay.
Like, I've never read any of his stuff, but like I know I would like it.
Yeah.
You know. Have you read Philip Roth? Are you a fan?
Yeah. I like him a lot.
Which is your favorite?
His first book, Goodbye Columbus. It's like a romance campus story. I just like his because he writes about around Jersey a lot. So that one
that's smart.
That all happens in Rutgers and
oh wow.
And then another guy I really like, Jonathan Ames, who writes humor. He's technically born in New York, but he grew up in Jersey. So I couldn't put down 3 of his memoirs that he wrote. They're like personal essays.
Oh, really?
Because it's from Princeton and it's his salacious odyssey of relationships but he writes them around being in Jersey, and it's so cathartic reading. You're like, oh my god, that's just down the street, so.
Yeah. You just read his like essays and stuff?
Yeah. So far, he's written novels as well.
Because like Bored to Death is based off him, right?
Yeah.
The main character is
Jason
Jonathan
Schwartzman.
Ames. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's basically him. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Bored to Death is great. If you guys haven't watched Bored to Death,
Death's really good.
Zach Galifianakis, like
Ted Danson.
before he was like mega famous, like he was just mildly famous at that point.
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman, Ted Danson. A lot of good weed in that. It's very stoner positive show.
Yeah.
Before I think weed was like mainstream completely.
And then he did another show, Blunt Talk.
Interesting.
That's his show too, with Patrick Stewart. That ran briefly on HBO, but yeah.
I've never heard of that show.
That was funny too. Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then a couple movies he's done. The Extra Man was based off his second book, which is about Paul Dano. Basically plays him. He comes for an entry-level job in the city. He's also looking for a roommate, some apartment space, and Kevin Kline plays this old geezer. What's the word? Where do you
curmudgeon?
No, not curmudgeon. When you pay to accompany a date.
An escort?
An escort, but for older women.
So that's funny.
Yeah, really funny. And then, but then oddly enough, he did a movie that's that Joaquin Phoenix, You Were Never Really Here.
He wrote that?
He wrote, yeah, because he was going through a phase where he was just reading these like pulp dark.
That's that Lynn Ramsey joint.
Yeah. So,
he wrote that?
I know, it's really off his base, because he normally writes comedy, but so
that movie rocks.
Yeah,
Lynn Ramsey.
I still need to see it. Actually, I haven't seen it yet. So.
Oh wow, no, it's really good. Lynn Ramsey had Die My Love come out this year.
Okay,
good movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson.
Missed that one. I didn't see
it's probably just gonna go into the obscurity of streaming at this point. I don't think it's gonna win any awards, but
gotcha.
It's a solid movie.
Check it out.
Yeah.
I want to see. I missed the Palme d'Or winner. It was just an accident. The Iranian movie. I want to watch that still, and that Park Chan-wook movie. I still need to watch.
No Other Choice. Yeah.
Did you see it?
I have not seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those two I still have to get to.
Oh yeah.
But I pretty much saw a lot of the new stuff that came out this year that I wanted to see. So
a fun Andreas story is, I think this was probably like 2020, 2021. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend and I, Rena and I, were going to see a movie. I forget exactly what the movie is now. And then we sit down and there's somebody in a mask next to me because it's like 2020, 2021. And we're just sitting there, we're hanging out. And then, like, eventually I look at the guy next to me in the mask, and it's fucking Andreas just sitting there. We randomly, and the whole theater, like, there's almost nobody else there. Maybe there's, like, 7 other people in the theater, and we're just seeing, like, some obscure art house movie.
It was a really tiered auditorium, so that back row was, it made you feel really high up. It was the Cronenberg movie, Crimes of the Future.
Oh, that shit was fire. That movie was sick.
They shot that in Greece, so that was also another cool factor for me to go see. And
you're Greek, eh?
Yeah.
Are you fully Greek?
Fully Cypriot, yeah.
Wow.
Cyprus is technically not part of Greece, but
Word.
Same culture.
What's that like? How does it influence your culture? Like, have you went back there a bunch?
Oh yeah, always go back. I guess the humor, my family's really funny. They're funny without knowing they're funny. My humor, a lot of that stuff goes over their head. They want more easier stuff I got that from them, definitely.
I'll have to connect you with this guy who was on the podcast earlier, probably the episode that came out last week, whenever this comes out. I'm saying it's last week, but he was saying he's actually working on like an international comedy festival in Cyprus. So I should
cool.
connect
No way.
you guys.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Sounds
He
great.
said he's done it in the past and it's great.
Amazing.
So I should connect
Absolutely.
you guys because it seems awesome, especially if you have a place to stay.
Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah.
My whole family's there. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
it like over there?
It's hot. It's the atmosphere is like Burbank when I went there. Like the smell, very similar. Yeah, it's dry. Yeah. Everything's in walking distance. The beach. Yeah. I wasn't good with the heat though, so because I grew up here, so the heat would bother me. I just.
What's the food like?
Food's great.
Is that like food that you eat on a regular basis, like with your parents, or is that like you just when you go back there you eat it basically?
My mom can't cook, so I had to learn how to cook, and you kind of get jaded. You get bored of it, but
yeah,
nothing's like the way your grandma used to make. So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
What type of food do they make over there?
It's that spice palette of the Mediterranean. It's like really
Very
close to
Mediterranean.
Greek. Yeah. The prominent food, I guess, to stand out that represents Cyprus is the cheese, halloumi cheese. Yeah. So it's there's the goat cheese, and then they have the Cypriot sausage, which is really good too. Sheftaya, they would refer it as. Yeah, those are. I think there's standouts that you can't get anywhere else. That's what they're known for. You get it there. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
it's pretty interesting.
but very similar to the Greek cuisine. Yeah. So.
Wait, what is somebody from Cyprus again?
A
Cypriot?
Cypriot.
Cypriot.
Cypriot. Yeah.
Cypriot.
There you go.
I learned
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You're teaching me a lot today, Andreas.
Cool.
You're a smart person.
No.
Do you have any shows coming up in February that are on the books? Or we can put the links in the bio below to the tickets?
Valentine's Day at the Rhino and Northvale Diner on the 24th, if that's a Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. Wait, who's doing the Northvale Diner show?
That's sick. Blanking on the name.
Word. That's all good. I won't tell them. Hopefully they don't watch it. They won't be hurt. Is the Valentine's Day show a special theme, or is it just Valentine's Day show?
I think it's Valentine's Day, yeah.
Hell yeah. Spend your Valentine's Day with Andreas at the Rhino, where we first met probably, I don't know now, 8 years ago? Yeah. Wow. It's been a wild ride. We're at the end of the show, I think.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell to the viewers?
No.
You got it all out of your system? You made it happen?
Sorry, I'm ruining this.
You're not ruining anything. No, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on. No, this was a lot of fun. You didn't ruin anything. No, stop. You didn't ruin anything. This was a fun podcast.
All right.
Thank you so much, Andreas. We will be back next week, I guess. I don't know. Maybe we recorded some more episodes, but we'll be back. Subscribe, follow, send out this podcast to your friends, especially because Andreas doesn't think he did a good job, and he did a great job. So send it out, listen to it. And we'll be back. Check out our show February 21st at Bolero Snort. That is Junk Mail Improv and Seance. Stay blazy, my friends. Stay blazy.